Hi guys. Well, I did not get any more done last night. Hi Marley. Oh, it's a beautiful day out there. And it's warm. Frame's all dried up. Since it's two tarps, water gets down in the pans. The rest of it keeps it off everything else. It just gets down in the pans. So I gotta come up with a single tarp. But I have to look and see when the next rain is, because if it's going to rain again, I got to re-tarp it up till I can get another tarp. It's kind of cool having his pans all in there ready to go. Well, I still got to rebuild the front end, rebuild the rear end. Oh, there's that pool noodle. Noodle. Just split it, and it's held on with a couple zip ties. They're long enough where I just needed one, and it keeps the tarp from catching that angle iron and tearing. So, last night I finished the night up by cleaning and sweeping. I don't know how I did it. I got the cords hanging, benches cleaned up. Three more tubes of seam sealer showed up, so that should keep me in seam sealer for a while. I think I got two more cans of the primer inside, because I was keeping everything inside when it was cold so it wouldn't freeze. And I got my fiberglass Bondo and rosin to thin it out so it's easier to work with. I don't have any body files, and I gotta come up with blocks and sandpaper, which I'm sure Lisa has blocks and sandpaper in the house. And I bought a 5-pack of body files off of eBay. They're used, but they look like they're in pretty decent shape, and they were pretty cheap. So they should be showing up. I did the order for CPI 1 and got the right pedestal coming. They don't have the left one in stock, but I figured I'd better get the right one before tariffs hit. At least then I just have to get one more. And I needed $100, so I bought the fender bolts kit. It came with all 4 fenders, the whelp seal that goes in between. I've got the chassis seal. That's underneath the bench there. I bought some grommets. I don't know. I bought a bunch of odds and ends. The pedestal was $66, so I ended up spending. And they have a March Madness sale was going on, so I ended up spending almost $200. So I don't even remember what I all ordered. I just was going through picking stuff that I knew I was going to need. So yeah. Get this thing a little further on down the road, and let's start thinking about finding a wire harness for this thing. Because I really want to get that fuel injection running again. So it would have to be a 75 wire harness. That Bosch box sits, if I remember right inside. One of these holes was where the wire harness for the injection system went in. I think it was on this side, so that might be the hole right there. So yeah, that's something in the future. And rip that dash out of there too, because when I paint it, I want to paint inside and outside body color, just like they did in the factory. So yeah, and a lot of rust repair inside too. That's pretty freaking close. So when them body files show up, I haven't played with Bondo in years, so I might play with some Bondo. I still got some drip rail welding the fixing to do, but I can still get this all spartaned out. See what it looks like. So that'd be fun. So firewall. I've got to cut that strip and start making the bottom of the firewall. So that's what I'm gonna work on next. Okay. I'm gonna say the last time, this is where I cut that front panel out. And I actually tried to cut it like the front panel. This time I just cut a square piece out. I keep all the extra metal because I chop it up into other repairs. This would be the bottom I cut out. So, because it is pretty close to what I need. 3 inches by 13 inches. Which I go down another 3 inches and cut it, but I gotta keep it from digging at the tent. So if I do that, then it's gonna start digging at the tent again. So I'm gonna go 13 inches across here. That way I don't have it this corner digging at the tent. So that's a 4x8 sheet of 18 gauge. I want to say I paid just under $100 for it. I had to drive 30 miles to get it. I drove the 64 Ford. It made it all the way there and all the way back. Over in Quincy was a metal supply place that had sheets of 18 gauge, so that's what I did. For those that don't know, a bug is about 19 gauge. So, little FYI. She's about a 19 gauge, and in Hannibal here, I could get 16 or 22 gauge. Which I got some little panels of bolt, plus some thicker plate steel. I don't think it's quite 1/8 inch. It's a little thinner than that, but it's pretty close for doing the structural stuff. 16 gauge comes in handy for some stuff. I haven't used any 22 on this. Heck of a lot easier to work with 22. It bends up really nice, but it does not weld very good. So the 18 gauge is pretty good. So let me get a piece chopped out of there and see where we're at. Alright, there's the piece. It's basically the bottom of this panel with the outside lip. That way, when I flip this thing on its side, I'll have a lip back there that when I fix the firewall on the trunk side of it, I'll be able to spot weld it to this lip. Just like the factory was. So, I gotta get that bent into a 90. Then I gotta get the shrinker stretcher so this thing can curve up, and then she gets attached. So let me get that bent into a 90 and Then I have to dig out the shrinker stretcher. It's down there someplace. Alrighty. Oh, and to bend it, I'd have Lisa out here, but she slept wrong and her sciatic nerve is acting up. She's got kinks. Sucks to get old. So, apparently it's Earth Day, so she's playing in her plants upstairs because she could sit down. Otherwise, she'd be out here. So I basically line the line up with the jaws of the vise, and I put pressure on it as I'm trying to hit it as close to the edge as I can with a body hammer. And I get it starting to go, and then I'll slide it down, and then get that starting to go, and then slide it down and finish it off. And then just keep working it back and forth till that's in a 90. It seems to work out okay for me. So, okay. It's a touch more than a 45. That ain't too bad. It just needs to be tweaked out a little bit on the end. So, after beating it flat that way, then you run it through the vise this way and beat it. And then you taffy it along on the flat until you got your 45. "16" metal is a whole lot harder to do. 18 ain't too bad. 22 is really nice, but this is what I need, 18. Okay, so now this sits in the car like this, so it needs a flat spot, then it's got to bend up and run up the firewall. So I need the shrinker stretcher. I gotta stretch it. So I gotta figure out where I want it to stretch, and then this thing has to go whoop, and then I got the bottom built as long as it fits, and it's only metal, so if I mess up I can do it again. Well guys, I totally forgot. This is the shrinker stretcher. It wasn't very much. I can't remember what I paid for it. That's the shrinker jaws. These are the stretcher jaws. Some of these you can get if you pay a little more money. You get two of them. One with a shrinker jaw and one with a stretcher jaw on it. But this is a cheapie. It came with one end with two sets of jaws, and it works good. I bent that other piece no problem, other than it was hard to hold it in the vise. You can see the marks I made in it making the last piece, and there's threaded holes down here, and I was going to get a chunk of ankle iron that I could bolt in that will go into the vise to try and lock it in there better. But I totally forgot that I had to do that. So, Dad's bush is sitting out in the front of the yard, and with Lisa not feeling good, I don't believe she got it planted. So, it's still a beautiful day outside. Marley's relaxing. I think I'm going to go out and plant Dad's bush. See if Lisa will come down to help. At least get it in the ground. It's supposed to be raining on and off, so that'll be good for it. And then The only angle iron I have is this old bed frame that I've been chopping up for the front of that car, so I don't know. I might try and make something out of a chunk of that. Or at work we got a pile of scraps, so see if I can find something to make a stand for that. At some point, I'd really like to have like a pedestal stand with an anvil. Somehow make it like quick connect where I could put an anvil on it or a vise or mount the stretcher shrinker in there or mount the roller. I don't have a lot of tools, but I do have a roller and I have a shrinker stretcher and I have a vise. So I'd really like to get a stand that I could tuck away, bring it out when I want to beat metal up. So, well, I'll get Dad's bush planted and see if I come up with something. If I do, I'll let you guys know tonight. Otherwise, I guess I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. At least it's spring. Alrighty, guys. Okay, Dad's bush is planted. I couldn't tell you what kind of bush it is. Lisa could. I'm gonna get some. There's a tree kind of trying to come up in here. Get that out of there. Get some wood chips. Get this cleaned up. Lisa had a bucket of bulbs to plant on the other side, so I did that too. The yard looks like total garbage because we were supposed to have an egg hunt last weekend, so I wasn't allowed to mow. I think she calls them flocks or something. They're spreading and looking pretty good this year. I need to put a little more grass seed in here. This place was zero grass when we moved in, and I've been adding grass seed every year. The dark stuff is what I added. I need to hit that. And the irises are blooming. And that there is a rose of Sharon. It blooms half the summer. So yeah, I got some yard work to do. So anyways, I gotta get cleaned up. Oh, that's the sign that flipped over when that storm came through. Apparently it didn't break it. That'd have been cool to see. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.